What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Two Friends Talking. I'm Chase. This is Ricky, and this is our weekly podcast where we talk about all things sports, sports betting, you name it. Ricky, how are we doing today?
Doing all right. This morning I got the dreaded text from our boy Bryce. He whooped my ass in fantasy this week.
Even without a tight end?
Yeah, I got the dreaded GG text. I was like, fuck you. No, I said, no, good game. Nice whooping that ass, dog. And he goes, imagine if I had Taysom Hill in. And I said, yeah, that'd have been really bad. He goes, is it just me or is he the Christian McCaffrey of the Saints? And I was like, I guess you're kind of not wrong. Just gets hurt, comes back, goes off. I don't know. It's kind of right. It's just been a bad fantasy year for me in all but one league.
Yeah. But you know where it hasn't been bad for you? FanDuel.
Well, that's why I have this drink here.
For the first time in a long time, and by a long time I mean the first time this season, your boy Rick.
No, I've had two wins.
Second time this season,
yeah.
The boy Rick is in the money. Take us through it.
This is true. Well, when I woke up Monday morning, I was sitting here at sixth place, raking in a good $40. So I got excited. I was all hot and bothered. I was having a good time. Then I got up today and saw that now I'm at ninth and I lost $20. So now I'm pissed. So this is a celebratory drink and I'm pissed drink. A little,
two birds, one stone. There you go.
Yep, a little Buffalo Trace on the rocks here. I said this team is gonna either. I have no expectations. I was like, watch this be the team I get a good win with.
Yeah.
And here we go. Jared Goff.
Looking back,
almost 40.
There were some good picks in there.
Yeah, Jared Goff almost 40. Amon-Ra almost 40. Brock Bowers getting close to 30. McConkey hitting almost 20. I mean, if Calvin Austin just doesn't have his thumb up his ass and get one catch for -1 yard, this team really could have done something. And Kareem Hunt, if he could have just scored, that'd have been great. But for most part, team performed well. I mean, Courtland Sutton, 7 receptions, almost 80 yards. That's a solid week.
Yeah.
McConkey played well. Goff had a great game. So did Amon-Ra. Javonte finally scored a touchdown. Awesome.
Long overdue.
Pretty good.
Long overdue.
Yeah. All in all, pretty good week for me. I mean, to just imagine, all I can think about is like, if I'd have picked somebody other than Calvin Austin, I almost want to go back and see who I could have picked.
For that price tag and see. Well, you could have probably taken like Khalil Shakir because I had him and he put up 11.
Yeah, I mean,
he was 6,500, so never mind.
11 points would have
he was
boosted me up.
He was about $1,000 too expensive for you, actually. So
yeah, but
you could have started the Seattle Seahawks defense there. They got 5 points.
Yeah.
Can you start a defense in a flex spot?
I wish. I don't know if you can actually.
I don't know.
We need to look at that next week and see, because that'd be kind of funny. What if you just did all defenses?
Could be the move.
Could be honestly. Just get a cheap $3,300 defense.
Yeah, get 2 of them, points. And you just hope, yeah. And then you can stack.
Pretty good week for me. Pretty good week for me. Finished top 10, finished number 9.
That might be the most points either of us have scored this year.
I think it's up there. It probably is.
Because I placed higher, but I only scored like 155 points, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I beat you by a couple points, but I placed lower than you. So good week for me. Hopefully it continues. Let's see what you did. I haven't even looked to see what you've done.
So just forewarning, not great. Okay, didn't break 100. 337 out of 396. And let's start at the top here. Okay, couple things worked out well for me. Couple things didn't. Quarterback Russell Wilson, 7 points. Gonna be tough to be in the money. When your quarterback puts up 7 points.
You know, I thought he was going to go off too.
You know, I should have thought that the Pittsburgh-Baltimore games are always pretty close, pretty low scoring, which isn't going to equate to a lot of points for the quarterback. I was blinded by the light. So, look, we'll forget about that. Now, my NFC North running back matchup actually turned out pretty good. 21 and 15 points there. I'll take that. George Pickens, almost 13 points. Not bad. Calvin Ridley kind of got shafted for me. 7.8, but he had like a 60-yard receiving touchdown called back for illegal formation, which kind of hurt. I was like, I'm torn. I want the Vikings to win, but I also want this touchdown to catch for Calvin Ridley. Zay Flowers, once again, that game was just pretty defensive. Not a lot of offensive firepower in that Baltimore-Pittsburgh game, so 11 points. Hawk kind of let me down. The Vikings-Tennessee game was a strange one. Addison was getting the ball. Minnesota was spreading the ball around to everybody else, and Hawkinson just wasn't getting it this game, which is weird because he came off season high the week before. But with tight ends, that's going to happen. He could bounce back this upcoming week and put up 10 catches for 100 yards. Khalil Shakir, not bad, 11 points. For his cost, probably not bad. I got to look and see what Amari put up because I know I was contemplating him in that position as well after he got announced that he was playing, but. And then the Seahawks defense, no complaints there. I took them. They were one of the cheapest defense, and they put up 5 points for me. So
you'll take that every time.
I'll take that every time. They actually won the game outright, so it kind of works.
Really, your biggest hurt was Russ just playing like shit.
Yeah.
And then Calvin not breaking 10, and then Hawk kind of shitting the bed.
Yeah. But even if Russ put up 30, I don't think I'm in the points. I don't think I'm in the money at all. So pretty rough week, but look, that's got to happen, It can't really go much further down from here. So look, I think
that'd be sad.
I think next week's is going to be good. But Rick, let's take a look at what you got for this upcoming week.
Got me an interesting team here.
Okay, so you were just telling me how much you like this lineup. So
yeah, it's a very interesting lineup. I've got the stack back at the stack off a bye week. Kyler Murray and Trey McBride. Trey McBride is due for a touchdown. Damn it! He's like tight end 4. That he hasn't scored a touchdown all season. He's due.
That's still wild.
It is wild. He's due. Eckler versus the Cowboys. Purely because all the running backs will go off against the Cowboys. I went with Eckler over Robinson because Eckler catches the ball more a little bit. So maybe a few extra touches there.
Yeah.
I almost went with Joe Mixon last week with that theory, but I decided to go a different route.
And he scored 3 touchdowns?
Yeah, pretty much. He's the reason, actually, why I dropped from 6 to 9.
Imagine if you had him instead of Kareem Hunt. You would have maybe gotten first.
I probably would have. Yes, actually, I would have. The other 3 guys who passed me had Joe Mixon, and that's why I dropped.
Yeah.
James Conner, he's just a very solid running back in this format. I mean, it's a divisional game. It's gonna be a good game. Seattle doesn't have a great defense. They're gonna run the ball, going pretty Arizona heavy here, but I really like the matchup there with the Seattle defense. Jawan Jennings.
Okay.
This guy just goes off. Don't know why, but they're focusing on Debo, focusing on Kittle. Jennings goes off. McCaffrey's also. He's like the 4th weapon, but this guy just catches everything. He's nasty. Let me kind of show you his game log. So like 12.8 ain't bad, but I mean he also had like a 40-point game earlier in the season. I wish I could show that, but
you can. That's all the games right there that he's played.
Well, he had one game where he went over for like 40 points. There it is, 44. So like this dude and that's when Ayuk was out.
Okay.
Ayuk's been out, 20 points, 13 points. If he gets me that for the $6,700 price tag, I'll take it. Then you see Amon-Ra St. Brown here. I put him at my wide receiver 2 to give him some pressure.
Yeah, he had a good game last week.
Yep, good game last week. I think he scored a touchdown in every game for the last 6 weeks. Needs to continue. Indianapolis's defense, not great. Detroit's offense, best in the league. And then Devon Vele.
What's up with you and picking these players that I've never heard of before?
Yeah. He's been okay. All right. He's been getting a good bit of targets for this little offense over here in Denver. I got to watch the Denver game last week, or this past week, and he was all over the field catching all kinds of stuff. On 3rd down, they go to him almost every time, and he catches the ball every time. He's bound to score a touchdown. That's my theory here. He's due versus Vegas.
There we go. Bad defense.
Yeah, bad defense.
Broncos are looking good, so.
And hot take, I don't think Jaden Daniels is rookie of the year. I think it's between Bo Nix and Brock Bowers. Hot take.
Interesting.
Jaden Daniels hasn't done shit the last like 5 weeks.
That's fair. Got some time to play Dallas this week.
Exactly, and still kick our ass. We'll put him back on the map. Don't you worry. Christian Watson playing against San Fran. I just feel like he's going to get at least one deep bomb, and he'll get like 2 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown or something like that. That's what I'm projecting, and I'll take that from him here. Giants defense, they're cheap. They're actually not a bad defense. Tampa doesn't have a ton of weapons anymore, so kind of why I'm going with them there. All in all, kind of a weird team. I feel good about it, which is probably not a good thing, and I'll probably finish in the 300s, but I'm hoping not. Hoping to go back-to-back, 96, 97. So,
all right.
Let's see what your team looks like, because I don't think you can compete.
I like my team a lot. Okay. Starting at the top, we're going with Baker, coming off a bye week. Got a lot of faith in him. He's been playing really good. Besides the last game against San Francisco, disregard that one. He's been on a pretty good run here. Okay.
Yeah, I'd say
Giants defense, I disagree with you. I don't think they're that good. Now, look, I got to run the stack here. I'm going back to my boy Cade Otton, who had been on a pretty good tear of runs right there, those 3 weeks. I think they bounce back right here. He's still the number 1 receiver in that offense. I like the connection. I like the duo right there. Now, look, I was thinking, I want some physical running backs this week. Some mean, put your shoulder down and run that guy over type running backs. That's where I got James Conner, okay? This guy literally beat cancer, okay? And you're telling me that the Seattle Seahawks defense is going to stop him? I don't think so, okay? He's been solid, actually, this year. You know, I mean, he's eclipsed 20 points a couple times. He's eclipsed 15 points even more. So I like him a lot. I don't think that Seattle defense is that great. So give me him. Kareem Hunt, he had a bad week last week. He's overdue. He's got to bounce back. I mean, he came off 21, then 14, and then down to 6. Once again, they're going against Carolina, whose defense is atrocious. I don't think they're going to be cute and try to be doing all these trick plays and stuff. I think Kansas City is going to get back to running the football and feeding Kareem Hunt.
He's who I had originally before I swapped in Eckler.
Okay.
So we'll see if that's going to be a mistake.
Now, my receiver position is the word of the week for my receivers this week is redemption. Okay? Ricky here. He had a good game, 15 points. Last week, 0 points. Don't think that happens again. Green Bay, this is going to be a pretty good game, pretty even matchup. I think redemption right here. Quentin Johnson has actually had a couple good games this season. He actually put up 12 points last week. That's not bad, but he didn't score a touchdown.
But you know what?
He did score a touchdown.
Everyone wrote him off because he couldn't catch. Redemption.
Exactly. And he didn't write back. Plus, Baltimore's defense is not good. So he's looking like the number 1 receiver in that offense. Some weeks not, I guess. I don't know. Give it to me. Redemption. And lastly, Jalen Waddle. This guy, you know, he has not had a good game since week 1. He has not eclipsed 100 yards, and he only has 1 receiving touchdown on the season. He has not had more than 5 catches in any game except for the first one. So, by all means, he's had a horrible season. But you know what? Redemption. This week at New England, at Miami, versus New England. Look, these games always are a cluster. Give me Waddle. 60-yard receiving touchdown, second drive of the game. You heard it here first. Now, look, this guy down on my flex.
Putting the pressure on him, huh?
I think, you know, he's starting to listen to the critics, and he's trying to get full of himself. And I said, you know what? You got to go down to the flex spot. You got to earn it, okay? JJ's been great this entire season, but he hasn't scored a touchdown in 4 weeks. Now, the first 2 of those weeks, he still put up almost 20 points or 20-plus points without it. But the last 2 weeks have been pretty quiet. Some people are trying to say, I think defense has got him figured out. We know how to stop JJ now. JJ does who, right? And I swear I said this week, redemption. Chicago, they're not that good. They already fired their offensive coordinator. They're not good. Vikings are 8-2. They look good. Jefferson's still getting the ball, but this is the week. I'm thinking 2 touchdowns minimum this week. He's due.
Rivalry game. He's
Yep.
due.
And lastly, Cardinals defense. Once again, I'm a big fan of low ball on defenses, and I was watching a little bit of the Seattle game last week. And Geno Smith made some very suspect throws. A couple of them
Indeed.
resulted in interceptions. A couple of them should have. Took some sacks. I think Arizona's going to get after him this week, force some turnovers, get me a couple points. That's the line.
I like it. I like it.
That is
We'll see
the
what
lineup.
happens.
I think we're in the money this week without a doubt. So, Rick, let's get to the more important part, the pick'ems. Y'all remember, I've got a nice little lead. But, Rick, how'd you do last week?
I went a good, clean 7-7. I don't know if there was any bad beats this week. I don't know if there was. I mean, clearly not. The Ravens.
No real bad beats, but were there any games that stood out to you?
Well, I don't know how Doug
Besides the
Peterson still
obvious.
has a. I don't know how Doug Peterson still has a job. Is going to be what my standout thing is from this week.
Yeah.
I think they've had 50 points hung on them like 3 times this season or something like that. They don't look good. They don't look like they're getting better. The team sucks. They don't even show up to play, really. Like, we saw 13.5 points. We're like, oh, man, that's a lot of points. No, it wasn't. They could have made the spread 40, and it still would have hit. I just feel like Peterson's going to have to go, and they may just wait till the end of the season.
Yeah, I guess
But,
at this
I mean,
point, right?
I don't know how he made it back on the bus or the plane or made it back to the facility today without getting fired. I really don't know. Just utterly shocked from that. Jets fallen again.
Fired their GM.
Fired their GM. I mean, it's pretty much over for them, right? I mean, I don't think there's a path for them in. Team sucks. Rodgers should retire and hang it up after this year because they're not going to get better. I don't know how they could get better. I don't know who the coach is going to be. What if they get fucking Fat Mike?
That would be a good fit. That'd be a good
Big
fit.
Mike goes to New York. That would be funny.
That'd be a good fit.
I'm rooting for that now. Old Big Mike over there in New York and the Big Apple. That'd be funny. But all in all, 7-7, went 500. Would like to do better. Honestly,
What's that bring you to on the year?
brings me to 88 and 78.
Okay.
Not terrible. Still 10 games up. Going to be an interesting week. I'm interested to see how you did because we had a lot of differences. So I don't really know what that tabulates to. But
surprisingly, we were pretty close here. I went 6-8, so we're not too far off. Couple unfortunate picks for me here where they ended up close. New England lost by 7. But look, 2 of the games that stood out to me were, first off, the Denver-Atlanta game. I thought this was free money at plus 1.5 here. I did not expect Denver to come out and beat them by 32 points. I mean, they beat the
boots to asses.
They beat the brakes off of the Falcons. Was not expecting that at all. That was kind of a shocker to me. And then the other one was the Bengals-Chargers game. You know, Joe Burrow for the Bengals is playing like an MVP caliber, and they just can't win games. You know, they had a game where they had some field goals lined up. They couldn't hit them. Joe is playing out of his mind, and they
had the leading passer leader, they had the leading receiver, and they had the leading leader in sacks now on that team.
And they're 4-7.
That's just atrocious.
Yeah.
Atrocious. I don't know how that coach is still there. He's gonna have to be gone.
It's wild because, to have that good of a season and then it just they're almost to the point where there's like no going back because with Baltimore and Pittsburgh in their division, the AFC is still good.
And then Chargers are gonna get a playoff spot.
Yeah.
The
Broncos
could get
could,
a playoff spot. They're looking, if they lose another game or two, they're gonna be out. Same thing with the Jets.
Yeah. It's interesting. It just shows that that's a team game. The quarterback can't do it all. Which is pretty surprising. So I know we got a couple good games in week 12. It was some good ones where it's kind of tough, especially with the spread. But you want to go through and talk us through what you got?
My thought process for these games, I looked at who was playing, and instant gut reaction is how I picked them. Trying to switch things up a little bit. Last week, I picked a team I thought was going to win. This is just a gut reaction when I saw the point spread, what I thought was going to happen. I don't even remember who I picked because it literally just, I looked at each one for a second and picked something. So we're going to go ahead and take a look over here. Is your camera frozen?
No.
Oh,
I was looking at the...
it looked like you were frozen to me. Pittsburgh. I when I picked them, I almost switched it back to Cleveland because I just got a feeling Cleveland's going to win.
Jameis Hive stand up.
Yeah. Jameis Hive. Pittsburgh just had a game where they barely beat Baltimore. Gonna be they let their load out right there. Maybe they not recharged for this game here on Thursday night. Classic trap game. They'll probably fall in it. Still going with the Steelers. Vikings. I'm predicting they kick the shit out of the Bears. Plain and simple. They should. They need a game where they look dominant again. It's been a little while since they've looked really, really dominant. Need to get back to it. Lions. They're going to hang another 50 points.
Yeah, I don't know how this isn't like a 15-point spread, if we're being honest.
They're going to hang 50. The Colts. Anthony Richards played really well last week. Played really well. Don't think it'll be enough against the Detroit Lions. They're the best team in the league. Patriots, 7.5 points is a lot. Rivalry game. It's going to be close. I wouldn't be shocked if Drake May won this one because the Dolphins have been terrible. Tampa. Tommy Cutlets ain't going to beat them. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Daniel Jones has been downgraded to third string quarterback. They're starting Tommy DeVito because Drew Lock's got playtime incentive for cash. So they don't want him to play either.
It's all political.
It's all political.
Sorry. The hometown hero, Tommy DeVito, runs the table. The Giants win out.
That would be crazy. And they don't get a quarterback because Tommy DeVito wins football games.
Yep.
Mr. Cutlets himself.
Super Bowl's in New York this year, so you can have it in front of him. Actually, I don't think it's in New York. I don't know where it's at, but
I have no idea. But
make a great story.
Taking Baker and the Bucs to win. Commanders. It's bad when you go to watch when Dak Prescott was healthy, you had hope just a little bit, that you could win. With Cooper Rush, I have no hope that we're gonna do anything.
No hope whatsoever.
There's none. No semblance of nothing. We're gonna lose
to the point where it's big. Just lose every game for the rest of the year.
I don't think they have a choice. they're that bad.
Yeah.
Very injured football team. A poorly coached football team. Terrible schemes. Players don't want to tackle. The corners have no desire to make a tackle. This offense is going to run all over the field on them. Big spread here. Kansas City and big spread. Big spreads don't really mix this season. I don't know what'll happen. I saw something that Jonathan Brooks may play this week.
Yeah, he's expected to make his debut.
That'll be sick. Bryce Young has actually played okay since he came back from being benched. Still doesn't have any weapons at all. So they've got good running backs, but that's about it. Tough game, but 11.5, I think they can cover that.
Maybe he just needed a slap in the face, hey, wake up.
Yeah.
And, look, we need them to keep winning games, though.
Exactly. Same thing with Tennessee. Need them to keep winning games. Texans have not looked good in weeks. They didn't really look good against the Cowboys on Monday night. That
was surprising that it was that close for that long.
Yeah, they should have blown them out by a way more. The game was way closer than it should have been. I mean, in the third quarter, they could have went up. It would have been 20-13, and then Dallas shit the bed, and then it just went downhill from there. Way closer than it should have been. So I'm taking Tennessee with the 8.5 points. I do think the Texans win, though. Broncos country, let's ride. Bo Nix is going to keep doing his thing. Sean Payton, I'm watching this offense, and I'm just why can't the Cowboys offense look like that? So many just quick, get the ball out, passes in rhythm.
So you're
It
saying
looks
you'd
like
be
there's a
okay
scheme.
if the Cowboys traded for Sean Payton?
Oh, I would love that.
Ugh.
I wanted him over Big Mike.
Ugh. Want
He's
neither.
better than Big Mike. But he's just, if you could ask probably majority of the NFL aficionados if they had to pick a coach to go with a rookie quarterback, they'd take Sean Payton because he just makes things so easy for him. And it has been. Bo Nix has been playing well. I think it continues.
Nah.
Raiders suck.
I want Mike McCarthy.
All right, Jerry. I just don't know what to think about San Francisco. They have not played well this year. If you would have told me before the season started that the Cowboys were 2 games back on the San Francisco 49ers in week 12, I'd have been like, oh, hell yeah, that ain't too bad.
Yeah, it's like, oh, what are they, like 10-0 and the Cowboys are 8-2 or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Not 3-7 and 5-5.
Yeah, they just haven't played well. They've been hurt. I don't know. I just think the Packers are a better football team overall, and I think the field goal spread, they'll cover that. They can win by 3, I think.
Yeah, that's actually gonna be a pretty interesting game because like their records, the Packers are 7-3, but like I do feel like they're pretty similar quality of teams.
Yeah, I agree. Cardinals versus Seahawks. I'm on the Cardinals train here. 1.5 points. I think they win outright. Seattle's defense is not great. And Geno, even though he's up there in passing yards, has not been making good decisions lately.
Yeah, turning the ball over and not being safe with it.
He's been getting bailed out, too, by drop picks and things like that. Yeah, I just think the Cardinals take this one. They've been playing really well over the last month or so, and I think that continues. Going with an upset here. I think the Rams win this one outright.
Interesting.
They've been playing well. They've got their weapons back. I think Matt Stafford's a better quarterback. I think Philly's going to drop a game here that they should win. I'm going to take the Rams here in an upset. Just gut reaction. Sunday Night Football. I think it happens in prime time. This is my game of the week right here.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one.
The 7-3 Chargers, who are somehow 7-3 and nobody's talking about them because they're a boring, grind-em-out defensive football team.
Yeah.
I saw a stat that their defense has only been letting up like 13.9 points a game, which is what they should have been doing like the last 5 years.
Yeah, with all the talent that they had back then.
And they don't even have all that talent anymore, and they're doing it now, which is awesome. Good to see. Big Harbaugh Bowl here, Monday Night Football.
Oh, shit, yeah.
I'm going to go with Jim over John. I don't know. I think Baltimore's defense is just leaving a lot to be desired. And I got a feeling the Chargers are going to be able to make up for it and outscore them because their defense is just superior and stop the run here. Got 42 points for my total
What the hell, man?
scored.
You're stealing my point guess.
Hey, it was instant. It was instant reaction. Everything was instant here. I just made up all my reasoning on the fly. Didn't know why I picked all these teams until just
that's
now.
how you know it's just not scripted.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what my picks are this week. I'm interested to see what happens. 13 games this week. A lot of teams on bye. Gonna be a good week.
Yeah.
Gonna be a good week for me.
Nice. We've got a couple different ones here. Oh, it's this dense view here. I like this actually.
Wait,
we're changing it live.
That's much
all
nicer.
Right. So look, Steelers Browns. I'm opposite of you there. I think the Steelers win this one. Pretty easy, unless the Browns somehow get some Jameis matchup.
The Steelers.
That's right, but you said you kind of wanted to pick the Browns. I never even thought I wanted to pick the Browns at all. You know what? Actually, we're fading it. We're taking the Browns. We're switching it live because I said I'll be opposite of you. I think we are going to get Jameis magic on Thursday night. I think the Steelers are coming off a big win. This is a trap game, just like Rick said. Rick said all the right things, but then he picked the wrong team. Browns. You look, I had Jerry Jeudy in my FanDuel lineup for a little while, and then I took him out and replaced him with Quentin Johnson. Jerry Jeudy has a big game here. Jameis is back Thursday night live. Vikings-Bears rivalry game. look, I already said I'm going with JJ because I think he's going to have a big game. The Vikings have struggled to blow teams out this year, but they are still covering. They're not blowing them out, but they're still covering. That's something that we have to remember. This game, it's pretty small spread, all things considered. 3.5 points. I think the Vikings win this one by touchdown to 2 touchdowns, 10 points maybe. I think they just got to continue to be smart with the ball. Defense, Vikings got one of the best, if not the best defense in the league. They're going to force turnovers. They're going to force sacks. Rookie quarterback might struggle against them. Sam Darnold's just got to stay cool and stop throwing the ball to the opposite team, and they'll be all right.
Indeed.
I was very tempted to take the Colts here. Okay, I was tempted that we were going to get some Anthony Richardson magic. Then I stopped for a second, and I thought about it. Said, no, taking the Lions. They just covered. They just scored 46 more points than their opponent last week. They've scored like 50 points like 3 times this year. Colts defense is not good. The Colts offense is not good. Give me the Lions all day long. They win this one big time again. The Dolphins-Pats games are always strange because it seems like they always split the season series, but the Dolphins aren't playing good right now. And while the Patriots aren't really either, the Patriots are playing better than their record reflects, in my opinion. They got a lot of holes to fill. And Drake May's playing pretty solid. Ramondre's playing pretty solid. They just don't really have a receiver in that offense, if we're being honest. I'd like to see them target one of the top ones in the draft this year, but they also need to work on O-line. So maybe get after that in free agency. But I think the Patriots could actually win this one outright. It's pretty close as far as percent picked, 48-52. So it seems like other people are pretty aligned with this here. But I like the Pats with the points. That's a pretty big spread for a game that I think is going to be pretty close. I have a lot of faith in the Bucs, even without Rod God and Mike Evans. They don't have.
He may be coming back this week.
Yeah, they don't have shit for receivers. Mike Evans might be back this week.
I want to say he was coming back week 12, and he had to average like 100 yards a game to get 1,000.
Well, if he's back this week, that's a huge boost for them. But look, the Giants are already punting on the season. I mean, they're 2-8. They've said we're benching Daniel Jones, which you don't do that unless you're trying to tank the season because it's not like Tommy DeVito is better than Daniel Jones. He's not. Sorry. He's just not. Daniel Jones is still their best chance to win currently. So they're just punting on the season. I saw that they said the ownership still has a lot of faith in DeBoll, but who knows how it is at the end of this year. There's always a lot of faith in the coach until there isn't.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
But I think the Buccaneers win this one. I think they get back in the win column. The Bucs are a very scrappy team. They just had, they kind of had some rough cards dealt to them with injuries. So I think they win this one, though. Never would I think that I would have seen the day where the Commanders are a double-digit point favorite over the Cowboys. But that's the life we live in now with Mike McCarthy and Cooper Rush. I saw Mike McCarthy said he wanted to play Trey Lance, but he's disappointed that he wasn't able to. And it's like, you're the head coach. What do you mean? Just put him in,
Yeah.
Commanders, I actually hope win the NFC East this year, just to keep that streak going of it being a different team every year. I'd like to see that. The Cowboys,
because the Cowboys won it last year.
Yeah, I want the Cowboys to keep losing and have top 5 pick, ideally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Commanders kicked the shit at the Cowboys. They posted it during the game, and it's the Cowboys are the first team in NFL history to trail by 20 plus points in 6 straight home games, something like that.
Yeah.
Which, first off, I'm gonna rant for a second. That's such an obscure stat. That's like in the NBA one where it points up and it's like, first player to ever score 37 points with 14 rebounds and 6 assists and 5 steals. And that's like, that's such an obscure stat line. That's why he's the first person to ever do it. That's like the version of NFL scoreagami.
Yeah.
Stat sheet scoreagami. But give me the Commanders. They win this one big and embarrass the Cowboys more. I was torn on this. I think the Chiefs win this game easily. I don't think it's even going to be close. When you look back and say, but I also don't think the Chiefs are going to get flashy with this, which makes me think it could be close. The Chiefs could win by 10 points. Panthers were still covered then. I think the Chiefs are going to run the ball a lot and just be safe with it and let their defense just get after it for them. But I wouldn't be surprised if this is a pretty low-scoring game, maybe like a 24-14, or it could be a bad beat and be like a 24-10. But I don't think this is going to be some 50-point victory like the Lions are.
No.
The Chiefs have not been able to put up major points this year. So
Yeah.
we'll see. This one, a few weeks ago, I would have said Texans 100% easy because the Titans are bad. But I saw two things last week. The Titans defense, specifically their run defense, didn't look that bad last week. The Vikings have been able to run over whoever for the most part all season long. Last week, not really able to. Titans had a decent run-stopping game. Their offense, they were throwing the deep ball pretty well against the Vikings defense, which is one of the better ones in the league. So I think the Titans are probably a little better than their 2-8 record reflects. Meanwhile, the Texans, I don't think are nearly as good as their record reflects. They look like dog shit against the Cowboys. Other than being able to run the ball, they really couldn't throw the ball that great. They turned the ball over stupidly, and their defense, they won by like 15 points or 17 points, but they didn't look as dominant as a Lions would, as a Ravens would, as these actual upper echelon teams did against Dallas. I will not admit that Sean Payton is good still. I think he's pretty equivalent to Mike McCarthy. I think the Broncos I don't know. I'm not going to rant on this too much. The Broncos win this one. They're way better than I thought they were going to be this year, so kudos to them. Meanwhile, the Raiders, the Raiders stink. They're tanking for Shedeur Sanders. Every time the Raiders lose, Shedeur tweets out, like, thank God or something like that, which is hilarious. But that would be a great fit, actually.
Yeah.
I just wonder if they would go after Dion also and try to get the stack.
Imagine Dion over there in Vegas would be wild.
That'd be nutty. But I like the Broncos here. Bo Nix has been playing pretty good recently. And I would have never expected them to win by 30-plus points against the Falcons last week. That blew my mind.
Yeah.
49ers Packers, I think this is going to be a really good game. This might be my game of the week, actually. Since you already have your game of the week, I'll declare this one as mine. A year ago, 49ers, best team in the NFC. Packers got in as a wild card and then didn't get in. Got in as a wild card and they beat the shit out of the Cowboys, who were the second best team in the NFC, right? And now 49ers are 5-5 and they're like, the Packers are 7-3, but they haven't really looked great.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Love hasn't looked great.
Yeah. He can't play outdoors, which is an issue when you play in an outdoor stadium.
Yeah.
In the cold. So I think the 49ers will continue to get better as the season gets on. They've had a ton of injuries at the first half of the season. McCaffrey's back. I think Debo's back playing. He's good. I think Ricky's going to have a big game this week. Fingers crossed. I think the 49ers win this one pretty easily. They definitely cover. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think the Cardinals have lost since the new Black Ops 6 came out. So
I don't think so.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like the Madden curse, except for Black Ops for Call of Duty, and Kyler is playing good. They are sneakily 6-4. Just like you were talking about the Chargers being 7-3, they're sneakily 6-4. If you would have told us at the start of the season the Cardinals would be winning the NFC West at the halfway point, or past the halfway point, I would have thought you're high. But it is. But I do think this is going to be a close game, divisional game. Excuse me. Seahawks always play teams tough. I think the Cardinals win this one outright, though. Kyler has been looking pretty solid. Trey McBride looks like one of the best tight ends in football. And I think James Conner has a really big week. I don't know if you guys want to go back and see the trends, but I also have a lot of confidence in teams that I have their players in FanDuel. There is a correlation to that.
Oh, yeah, there is.
So, I'm different from you on the Sunday night game. I'm taking the Eagles. The Rams are a very weird team. They'll come out and they'll look really good one week, and then they'll look horrible the week after, and then look really good, and then horrible the week after. And I don't really know what the issue is. Meanwhile, the Eagles are 8-2, and as much as we don't like them, they're still one of the best teams in the league. Saquon is having a great season. I don't know the actual stats, but I feel like he's probably on pace to have one of the best seasons of his career.
He's on pace for the best of his career.
Yeah. See, Jalen Hurts just still pushing it in from the 1 yard line, tush pushing it. That's a shame. They need to outlaw that play. It ruins the game.
Yeah, it pissing me off. I've done the math because I have Saquon in our fantasy league. I've lost 72 points to tush pushes or 1 yard passing touchdowns.
That is crazy.
After Saquon gets tackled inside the one.
I think the Eagles win this one pretty heavy-handedly. and then bringing it back up to Monday night. This is going to be a good game. I think the Ravens are an interesting dynamic because their offense is extremely explosive. It's very good, but their defense sucks. Granted, they played Pittsburgh last week, who has one of, if not the best defenses in the league as well. And they got held to what, 17 points, something like that, 16 points. Not a great showing. Bad week to have Lamar in fantasy. Bad week to pick Russ in fantasy. But the Chargers defense, I don't think is as good as Pittsburgh's. It's still not bad, but I think the Ravens.
Number one.
Yeah, I don't believe in technicalities.
Points
okay?
allowed.
I believe in the eye test. You know what the eye test tells me? Lamar Jackson, comeback game this week. He's got to retake the throne for MVP leader because he kind of lost it.
Well,
I don't know who he lost it to, but he lost it last week.
Josh Allen.
And he's got to get it back right now.
I'm telling you this. What wins championships? Defense. And we're in the Harbaugh Bowl, baby. This is going to win the championship is the defense here
That's
with
fair.
the Chargers.
But look, I'm going to change up the point total since Rick decided to take 45, 42. I'm going to go 39. Okay? A little bit of a strange number. Don't even know how that's possible. Don't know if it's possible to score 39 points in a game. Let's do the math. 21-18. Okay. 30-9. That's possible. 19-20. Okay. Plenty of possibilities. Is it going to happen? Probably not. But it's also not going to matter. Yeah, I think this is a pretty good spread. I like this new 10th screen. It looks nice. It's much more appealing to the eye. So hopefully y'all like that. Our editor, ESPN, did a lot of work to get it to look like this for us. And I'm 91-75, so I'm 3 games ahead of you, but I'm 16 games ahead of 500, which is pretty impressive, in week 12, so 3/4 of the way through this season. Rick, any final words before we send him off?
Looking forward to the NFL draft, honestly.
We're ready for the offseason.
It's a depressing time to be a Cowboys fan. The only hope I've got left is that I'm winning my fantasy leagues. Or one of them. The other 2 not going so great. But I'm top 2 in the other league and just put up 178 points this past week. That can continue. I'm bringing home the bacon.
There we go.
I'll be happy about that.
There we go. Now here's the thing. Would you rather win that fantasy league or every FanDuel for the rest of the year?
Win every FanDuel?
Not first place. We get like top 10.
I'd rather win our fantasy league, more money.
Wow, it's always about the money. I'd rather win the FanDuel because I want to leave a legacy on ESPN Fantasy Football and on Two Friends Talking. But look,
and FanDuel.
Exactly. Because that's what it's on, not ESPN Fantasy Football. Anyways, y'all know what I'm talking about. Another good episode. Y'all tune in. Next week, we'll be back again. Looking forward to some good games. Looking forward to the offseason. We'll see y'all on the next one. This is Two Friends Talking. I'm Chase. That's Ricky. Y'all have a good one. Cheers.